During the course of these videos, we'll talk about many aspects of the ALV grid. We'll first discuss the basic layout or the anatomy of the ALV grid. We'll talk about how we can move the columns around to sort our needs. Next, we'll talk about sorting. We'll have the option to sort on one or more fields, and we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about filtering the data. Many times we'll filter the data on the selection screen, but once we get that data set, we may want to further filter it on the ALV grid, and we'll talk about how you do that. Many times we'll also want to see totals across cost centers or sales orders. The report that we're using today is about cost centers, so we'll see how to total based on cost element and cost centers. But these concepts can be used throughout the ALV grid. Next, we'll talk about the display options. As I mentioned in the introduction, we can control much of the aesthetics of how the report looks, and the display options section will address those. We'll next talk about managing the layouts. With the layouts, you'll want to get the data in a certain format, and then after we get that format, we want to be able to refer to that layout later. So in the managing layout section, we'll talk about saving layouts and changing layouts. And finally, we'll end with exporting the data. There will be times where we want to export the data for further analysis or to pass on to someone else. And in the final section, we'll talk about how we export the data to a spreadsheet or word processing format.